and welcome back to my top 100 games, and today we'll go through numbers 80 to 71, so we are getting closer to the best of the best. But let's start with a heavy game that was actually on the list on my top 50, and it was up in the number 26th, so it's fallen quite a bit, and that game is Android Netrunner. Basically the reason it's dropped is because I haven't played it a single game since I made the last list. Because the game has the two problems I talked about last time, that it's very hard to find someone to play with. Unless you have a constant casual gamer, you can actually have a small collection and you can play together with that collection, and it's great. Or you are into the competitive scene, so you can actually play with all the new cards and all the players that are actually playing the game. But for example, for me, even though I have a lot of content for the game, if I now went to my local gaming group, yeah, I could play there and I could have fun, but I wouldn't know like the card from the last year and a half, so I would be at a disadvantage and the other players wouldn't have as much fun as me. But yeah, so sorry, what was the game? Well, this is basically the best two-player game almost I can think of when everything works, but as said, there are problems with the format and how hard it is to get into it, so that's why it's lower and probably might drop out of the top 100 next year unless I get back into it or something. But all in all, it's a great game, so that's why it's on the list, because it is basically one of the best two-player card games ever built or done. So that's Android Netrunner. And number 79 is Say Anything. Well, that's basically a party activity, more like, but I really enjoy it because you can really learn to know people and have fun and enjoy the company of people. It plays up to 8 people, so you can really have a group going, and it's a lot less about a game than it's just the activity and having fun and learning about each other, and it's just very fun, so that's why it's on the list. Say Anything. So number 78 is Rapa Nui. This was actually on my top 50 at spot 48, so it's dropped a bit because I haven't played it much after that list, but all in all it's a cool game with a nice theme and some cool mechanics and easy to play, plays well with 2 players and 3, and it's just interesting and has cool kind of drafting, but also other things you have to consider. So if you can find a copy, check it out, but it's one of the games that I was looking for a long time, and I do still enjoy that I found it eventually. So Rapa Nui. So number 77 is a big box of the Battle of 5 Armies. I didn't have this when I did the list last time. I only got this year, February or so, and I haven't played it for very many times yet, but something like 3-4 games I guess, or 2 to 3 games, and it's basically a lighter version of War of the Ring. Well, in a sense, it's not a light game by all means, but it's more focused on the combat and the actual battle of the 5 armies. It has an amazing battle system, I think. It is basically the same as in War of the Ring, but it has terrain superiority and a few other things added to it, so it's kind of a breaking point of a army, and again, cool abilities, heroes, and in this game it's basically at least in the first games, it's slightly maybe slanted towards the heroes, which is cool for a change, because the evil player really has to up his game and start aggressively, and he can't just turtle and start building this massive army, because time is in the good people's favor. So that's Battle of the 5 Armies. And then we're on to number 76. That's Viceroy. What can I say? This is a cool game with an awesome artwork. Basically you build this pyramid of Power, it's called. It's basically cards that have amazing artwork and special abilities, and depending on where on your pyramid you put them, for example, if you put it on the second level, it has the second level ability, so you always have to consider on each card where do I want to put this on my pyramid. And you can also match the circles, which might give you more mana or power or whatever it's called, to be easier to pay for these cards later. And of course you have to build the pyramid so that you have support. So first you put 2 cards on the bottom row, then you can put 1 on top of those, but then you have to widen the base of the pyramid to be able to make it higher and higher. And if you get up to the 5th level, I think it was, you actually get a huge bonus, and that's like the highest level you can get, and it's pretty challenging to get there, but you can win by only building like a lower pyramid, but really utilizing the powers well. There are a lot of paths to victory, I think, many different ways you can score, or focus on few things, or do many of the different avenues of point scoring. So Viceroy is a cool game, although the drafting I think is a bit lackluster in my opinion. I don't really like it, so we basically played friendly version 2-player, so we usually try to come up with cards that we want that the other doesn't, but of course if there's some card that I really want, we will use it. That I have more gems than you, are you sure you want to actually fight me for it or something like that, but of course your mileage may vary. Okay, so then we're on to a cool dice game called King of Tokyo. This is 75, and well, this is basically Richard Garfield's light dice game where there are these monsters like King Kong and Godzilla and Thulhu and all these that are fighting to control Tokyo and smack each other down, and basically Yahtzee dice, but also there are cards which give you special abilities and energy, what you can buy with energy, and the last man standing usually is the winner, but you can also try to score points and focus on defense and not attacking the others, and do these card combos which give you a lot of points, and you can win with points, and it's not even rare, but usually it's just fun to smack each other down, so that's why it usually ends in a bloodbath, at least in my games. But this is a game that is really good for many different groups, and for beginners and small children, even pretty small children will really love this game. My brothers, 2 boys, always ask, the first question they see me is that, do you have King of Tokyo? And I usually have to bring it with me just because of them, and the scream and laughter they come out with when we play the game is just satisfying, and you will probably have the same if you have, at least, especially boys, but I have played this with some children and girls also, and they will also like it, so King of Tokyo is a winner. Okay, so then we are on to number 74, or sorry, 75 I guess. Sorry, I'm mixing the numbers here. And that's Space Hulk Death Angel, the card game. This is basically my solitaire game. I usually play this solo, so that's the reason it's high here. But I have played it with 2 players at several occasions, and it works well 2-player. And I think it would work even in the higher player counts. This goes from 1 to 6 players. But this is weirdly purely feels like a solitaire game also. So you control 3 groups, but the decisions are small enough that you don't have to think about several different abilities every turn, so it's very satisfying. It's brutally hard, especially with the expansions. I have all of the expansions here and they still fit in the box, and it's just a blast to play this game, a great cooperative game. Okay, then we are on. Actually 73 now, sorry, now I've got the numbers right. So XCOM the board game. This is the uses the XCOM theme, but is the all around the world portion of the game. Mostly it's not the tactical combat, and at first I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to like that game, and I didn't buy it right away, but finally I found it at a reasonable price and saw it on the shelf and just had to pick it up, and I haven't actually regret that decision. It's not the best game and it's not something I wanted from the game, but the more I play it, the more I actually like it. The downsides are that it really needs 4 players. I would pretty much never play it other than 4, although I have played it with 2 and 3, but all those times 1 player has to manage 2 characters, and that's just not fun. So 4 players is the player count, so that's a big negative, because that's the reason I sometimes don't play this in a long while. But when I get to play it and have people on, and we just this is brutally hard, so the tension and excitement is just amazing, and the decisions themselves and the resolutions are very simple, but the more abilities you get from the science and the more things and cards going on, the more combinations you can pull off and get better abilities and start bettering your chances of surviving. So it's a cool game, check it out. And also this needs an app, so beware of that. Either a computer, phone or a tablet, and the app is free, of course. Okay, so 2 left on the list. Number 72 is actually Lords of Waterdeep, and again, this wasn't actually on my top 50. It was just 51, 52 or something like that. But I really enjoy the game. I haven't played it in a long while. Sadly, I really need to play it soon, especially after I got the expansion Scoundrels of Skullport. It really transforms the game from an okay game to a good game, and basically worker placement with the Dungeons & Dragons theme, and still easy and light to play, but has cool abilities and cool things. And with the expansion you have the corruption and how far you want to go into being corrupted and all these things. And of course I have the D&D peoples here, so it's not just cubes, and that's a huge plus, because just the cubes would be a bit less thematic. So Dungeons & Dragons Lords of Waterdeep is a great worker placement. And last one today is actually one of the heaviest games I think on the list. I played it like 3-4 times now, and that's Mombasa. And even though I played it 3-4 games, I still think I don't know what I'm doing in the game. And that's not to say the game is hard to understand or hard to play. It's more like it's hard to implement your plan, and really there are so many options and so many things you have to consider. Because first of all there's like a deck building aspect, but you have 3 discard piles, and each turn you can only pick one of those up. So you really have to plan on which card pile do you play the cards, so you can get them next turn, or maybe turn after that, or maybe turn after that, after you have got some other cards in the discard pile. And of course building the companies on the map itself, or getting the stocks for the companies and how valuable each are, and which companies do you want to build. And then there's this book track, which you can really combo if you do this well. And there's just so many things that my brain is freezing when I play this game, but in a good way, and I really enjoy the challenge. And the great part is that even though there are so many moving parts and things you can actually consider, when you play it once or twice, you rarely have to look at the rulebook, other than maybe some symbol, what was this again, or something like that. But the rules are clear, and there's pretty much no like fiddly rules, which I always love in games, especially in heavy Euro games. So Mombasa is, and it also, even though this has stock market things and manipulations, I think this works great as a 2-player game. I've only played it 2-player, but it has worked nicely in that. Of course I would like to try it with 3 or 4, and might be better, but 2-player is great. So that's Mombasa. Number 71. Okay, so that's another 10 gone, and I will try to do more of these as I have the time, and hope you enjoy it and keep up with me. Next list I'm going to upload is probably my first version of the top 30 solitaire game, so look up for that also. So, thanks for watching and goodbye.